All right, we're live. All right, so welcome everybody. We're so excited to be hosting a panel today of a different color. I want to thank everyone who helped with tech support, the framing of this event, and all of the Black and Pink Boston volunteers. Without you, none of this would exist. Black and Pink is a prison abolition organization. We're an open family of LGBTQ plus people living with HIV, incarcerated, and free world allies. We're rooted in the principles of solidarity, and the hallmark of our work is our pen pal program and newsletter sent to incarcerated members. We also engage in direct actions, policy work, advocacy, and mutual aid. If anyone's interested in getting involved after, you'll receive an email with some opportunities to plug into the work, both with Black and Pink, our panelists, and with other parts of our movement family here in Boston. So my name is Michael Cox, and I'm the Director of Policy for the Boston chapter of Black and Pink. I'm also the administrator for the Massachusetts Bail Fund. And I come to this work after serving 6 years in prison. And when I finally met Jason Leiden, the founder of Black and Pink, he inspired me to get more involved in the work. And 5 years later, here I am. We're really excited to host this panel today because last year we hosted a similar panel called No Pride in Prison. We focused on the turbulent lives that people have before, during, and after incarceration, including things like police misconduct, criminalization of survival economies, abuse during incarceration, and the lack of sufficient reentry resources and abysmal cultural competency within that cycle of resources. So we know lots of bad things happen, and they're happening right now. But we're taking a break from that today because those stories cause heartbreak. We want to present another co-equal narrative about queer experiences in the system focused on solidarity, resilience, strength, and love. And so I'd like to introduce our panelists now. We're so grateful for all of them, and almost all of them are personal friends. So first we have Jennifer Love. She is a formerly incarcerated transgender woman from New Jersey. She is an entertainer, an advocate, public speaker, and founder of the Gen Love Project, which supports LGBTQ people, specifically trans women, being released from prisons and jails. She also co-chairs the formerly incarcerated subgroup of the National LGBT and HIV Criminal Justice Working Group based in Washington, D.C. Jen's favorite phrase is, "It's all about the love."
Oops.
So, Thiago Araujo is a 27-year-old Brazilian native who immigrated here to the United States. He identifies as a gay cis male. After moving to Boston, he became a professional cook, and he now spends his time staying fit, enjoying life, and promoting sobriety. And a few panelists are planning to attend. They are just starting to arrive. So I'll introduce them now, and they'll probably pop in soon. Angelina Resto is a formerly incarcerated trans woman. She made history by being the first transgender woman to be transferred from a male to a female designated prison in Massachusetts. Her work with Black and Pink, she is a public speaker and fearless advocate for other trans women within the system. She's also a member of the National LGBT and HIV Criminal Justice Working Group based in DC, and she now resides in Boston. And finally, Rihanna Jefferson is from Taunton. She's a huge family girl. She's honest, outgoing, has 9 brothers and sisters, and her mom is her best friend and biggest support. Rihanna is connected to Black and Pink through her pen pal Katie, who she started writing a few years ago. And they've been friends ever since. Rihanna is recently sober, on parole, and is excited to get her life back, be happy, and carefree. She recently came home from the mass system and is now looking forward to deepening the ways she loves herself. So warm welcome to everyone. And so let's get right into the questions. So our first question today is, what was life like prior to incarceration? What types of community were you involved in? Can you think of any stories about LGBT people caring for you or caring for one another, even if criminalized behavior was involved? And if you'd like to go first, just feel free to unmute yourself, and the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Happy Pride. My name is Jennifer Love Williams. She, her, hers. Forest community and Pride prior to prison. I met a person in July 4th, 1994. It was check-in day on the 4th of July of college. And this young man, I just looked at him. I'm internally jealous because this person was exuding everything that I felt inside of me. And, but I never seen it on TV until looking at him. And ultimately we got so close. He's like my other half. If you ever see me post about he and I, you always see me say my other half, my lover, my best friend. We never been lovers, but he's like, he is literally the other half of me. Before me becoming she, and now that I am she, he still is my other half. Just non-romantically. And his name is Jamel. He's been my rock, and at that time we were learning life itself. But I knew that once he started asking me questions in private, and I was able to finally start having what's inside of me come out of my mouth. Have understanding. My first time in the village, it was he and I. We acquired more friends along the way, but that was the start of, oh, I'm never going back. And we had a blast of failures, a blast of success, but I wouldn't be where I stand now if I didn't enter college and see this young man walking across the court. My life has drastically changed since then. He was my everything. He still is my everything. Post-prison, pre-prison, during, and post.
Thank you. Thiago, do you want to respond?
Yeah, definitely. Thiago, first of all, I'm so grateful for being here. This opportunity to be on a Sunday, have Pride, everyone. What my life was like before Pride. I've worked a lot before Pride, no, before incarceration, sorry. Yeah, I guess I moved here like with the intention of like working hard, making money, making something out of my life. There was a concept of moving to America when I was 18, and I was pretty much an alcoholic. I was a sucker for meaningful relationships with friends in the gay community. I'll highlight like a friend of mine, like one of the guys who stand by my side through hell, through the good moments or whatever. That's Curtis Keith. Michael, you met him, you know, he is, it's just a good Canadian dude who lives in Boston, and he stood by my side pretty much through like everything that I went through. That person that wouldn't like turn the back on me no matter what. If I was my best, he'll love me. If I was at my worst, he'll love me. And that's the kind of relationship that you don't find easily. Oops, my phone. You don't find that easily around, you know, and that's so I want to remember his name today, that we have for 10 years plus, and he's the guy who like go bail me out in jail like several times, and he just there with a big smile and with the big those big words coming out of his mouth, you know, everything's gonna be okay. We're gonna get through this, and you know, and it's just like those kind of like warm feelings that makes your heart smile, and it just makes you so proud of being gay and having such a good friends around you. So that's my story, a little bit of my story.
That's beautiful. So I also have a story. So I'm from Worcester, Massachusetts originally, and this is sort of like this post-industrial city, pretty conservative. And so growing up there as a gay person was really tough. And when I turned 18, I heard about these other gay kids from Worcester going out to Boston to use meth. And I didn't know what meth was, but I heard about this like community of gay people, and that sounded really great to me. So I went out there once, and I basically never came back. I got hooked on meth, which isn't great, but I was really grateful for plugging into a queer community where it didn't matter where I came from, who I was, what my story was. They didn't really care. And I was really grateful for them, especially after I was like hooked on meth, because I saw what happened to the kids my age who didn't have a community like that around them. They were really forced into the streets. They were homeless. They were checking into psych wards. They were all escorting. They were doing sex work. And I was really grateful for having this kind of queer entourage community around me. Even though like some bad things did happen, we were still better off together than alone. And so if I didn't have a place to stay, we were all staying together. If I didn't have money for drugs, I didn't have to go out and commit a crime. We would share the drugs. And so like, I don't want to glorify it, but I also want to say my life was better for it than without it. And so I'm super grateful for that kind of community. And that sort of longing for family and community is something that's always stuck with me. And it's something that I've refined over the years. So I've turned to more skillful communities, not rooted in drugs, but it's something that I think we all have and we all look for our whole lives. So I'm really grateful that they were there around me. So our next question is kind of turning from the streets now to incarceration. Did anyone have a lover while they were locked up? And if so, do you want to talk about the role that relationship played in your time while you were on the inside?
Okay. Throughout my incarceration, I had entered 2 relationships. The first one, he was just more focused with who I was and how everybody had this desire to get to know me. And for the first time in my life, I realized what I didn't want in a person, which is basically time, attention, and love. So you weren't giving me that. I wasn't the pet project. I wasn't the sexual fetish because I had the breast. So it was a no-go. But for the first time, it made me understand what I didn't want and knew it was okay for me to say, I don't want this, I'm good. But then I met this second person and they changed their whole structure around to be with me. I didn't want to be receiving no kites. If you can't address me inside this mess hall, you can't address me inside this chapel, you can't address me inside this big yard, I don't want to be bothered. And he just put all that aside, regardless of who's in here. When I come in the door, everything stops and you come sit right where I'm at. You take care of me, and that's what I needed. And the me that you guys see now, we're no longer together. However, that person right there let me know that, okay, well, it got to be more, much better ones of that one out here. So that whole relationships inside of incarceration is what put me to where I'm at when it comes to relationships now. And that was one of the highlights of my incarceration. Not so much the love of him, but for once me realizing the low of the first one and the high of the second one, making me find inside for once what I wanted in a me.
Hey, Thiago?
Hey, Michael. If I had a lover during my incarceration, I don't know if I had a lover. I don't say if I was a lover. One of the times that I was in jail, I did have someone special in my eyes. But doesn't mean it was a very healthy relationship. But it was someone that was constantly in my mind, that I kind of wanted to get out and kind of go back to. And I don't think that was. I think the jail time, it was a good time for me to kind of take a break and just trying to rethink like what a healthy relationship is, and if that was something that I wanted to pursue on my way out, you know, and go back to the same path that I was doing with this person. Today he's a good friend of mine. You know, so the relationship is changing, and it's good. It's changing for something a lot more healthier than it was in the past. But it wasn't someone that was always in my head. Like someone that you kind of like, you know, in the end of the night when we were back to ourselves after the rag time, and you kind of like, you know, like, and just think about it, just how it would be so good to be someone to cuddle with right now. Or like thinking something to look for on your way out, you know. And I saw the person on my way out. Don't get me wrong, you know. Thiago wanted to see the lover, and Thiago saw the lover. But you know, that was a long time ago. It made me like realize what I really want for my life long term, and it's not the same thing that I wanted like at the time that I was in jail. I was in a very lonely place, and when you're in a lonely place, you just wanted someone to feel the loneliness feeling that I had when I was in jail, with not able to talk to anyone and not having my friends around. You know, in the end of the night, just wanting like something to make you feel okay. And I think that was what my hope was holding to this person, which was not very healthy for me. Like, you know, I wanted to be with that kind of emotions when I'm in a good place, and like I can give it back. You know, I just don't want to make I felt like that person was my drug, almost make me feel okay. You know, like I'm sure if a lot of us relate. I mean, it was almost substituting my drug to like a person, and I just, yeah. But that was the moment, you know. Like self-acceptance is part of my life today, and it's not about judging what I was and the feelings I was feeling. It was perfectly okay with the kind of situation that where I was at, you know. Yeah, but it was funny looking back, because I was going through some paperwork last week, like from the time I was in jail, the email manual, and there was a couple numbers on the list, right? The number of my uncle, the number one of my friends from the program, and the number of the kid that I was seeing at the time, you know. And that was the three people that mattered the most for me that I put on the at least at that time, you know. The list is not the same today. And I was okay in throwing away the list. I had a little mixed feeling when I was going through those paperwork, remembering like the moments that I was just like outside of a natural street, looking outside my cell, and just trying to think what's gonna happen when I get out of here. Am I going back to this like lover, or am I gonna be okay just being by myself? And those are all emotions. There were like emotions and thoughts that were like running through my head around that time. That's what I have. Thank you.
That's powerful. So I did 6 years in prison, and I split up that time between like 4 county facilities and then 3 state facilities. And so along the way, I met a lot of queer people. And one thing about me is I'm super oblivious when somebody likes me. So I'm like, why does this person keep sitting next to me? Maybe they're just friendly. But eventually, I caught on, and some people were much more obvious than others that they were interested, and I peeped that. But I kind of brushed everybody off at first, because I was just like, this isn't, first of all, it's not like the cream of the crop, right? Everybody's had a tough life. It just is what it is, right? So I would have like guys with like no teeth, and like just like they just would want to give me the world, and I'd be like, no. But eventually, I moved to a new housing unit when I was at Gardner State Prison. This was probably in like the 4th or 5th year of my incarceration.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I got in.
Oh, welcome, Angie.
Hi,
Welcome,
I'm
Angie.
sorry.
That's
Hi,
okay.
how you doing?
Welcome.
How you doing? Welcome. Hi, everybody.
Excellent. Let's give it a hand for Angie. She's been fighting to get in here for 20 minutes.
Okay. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. We're sharing stories about lovers that we found in prison. And
Okay.
so I'm in the middle of my story. And so after I go, do you want to go next?
Yes.
Okay, welcome. I'm just going to mute you, okay?
Uh-huh.
All right. Awesome. Yay, Angie's here. So anyway, they moved me to a new housing unit, and there was the most handsome man next to me. He was like 21. He was the biggest goofball, and he'd always joke and flirt and ask me if I wanted to work out. And I just thought like he was just being nice. It was just his personality. But eventually he like caught me in the staircase one day and just gave me the biggest kiss. And so it had been, 4.5, 5 years since I had been kissed. He just swept me right off my feet. And we fell so deeply in love with one another. We did everything together. We ate together, we cooked together, we went to the gym together. He basically had a big falling out with all of his gang member friends that they didn't like that he was messing with like a homo when he was repping for them. And so it was a lot to navigate. But what was beautiful is that we still stuck it through and we navigated it together. Except this one time, I got in a fist fight with his friend because he was talking junk about us. But that's what love will do to you sometimes, right? It will make you go a little crazy. And it was really the best thing that happened to me during that time, because he would just hold my head in his hands and look me in the eye and told me he loved me. And that is in such contrast to what the system will give you for a message. They will tell you that you're the biggest piece of shit, that you don't matter, that nothing you want, need, desire matters here. And they would tell me they would lock me up when they would get reports that we were being intimate. And, nothing could really shake me because that love was just so strong. And it really was the best thing that could have happened to me while I was incarcerated. It was a chance to practice healthy relationships. It was a chance to get to know myself through him. What are my sticking points? What are his sticking points? And learning to just be in relationship with one another. And so the DOC will tell you it's wrong. And I push back on that every day. It's a normal human response to want to be in relationship. And I think they should chill out a little bit. So I'm going to stop there. Angie, do you want to go?
You hear me? Okay, hi. I'm Angelina Resto. Well, my story is very different to a lot of people because the most amazing man that I met in prison was Terrell Martin. That's the man that supported me when I was being sexually harassed, when I was being taunted, when people were picking on me, especially the staff. So he stand up for me. At first, I was kind of scared because I thought he was just like every other guy, that he just wanted me for sex, use me for sex, but it didn't happen like that. Today, I can say we've been 4.5 years together. We got plans to get married and everything. His sister and his mother, they loved me. I'm out in Boston with them. They supported me real big time. The sister wants me to move in with, but I don't want to because I told him I want to do this on my own. Because I want to do this on my own. I want no support from nobody. I want to show the people that I could do this. And the most amazing man, he supported me through everything that I went through. We got loved numerous of times. Jennifer Levy had to go and fight for him to get him out the hole because he was fighting for me and defending me. And Jennifer Levy told him, hey, that's her lover, and he's going to defend her, and they love each other, and you cannot discriminate towards them. And like I said, it's been 4.5 years we've been together. On the 23rd of this month, we make the half year, and it's his birthday also. So we have an amazing relationship, and this man still today, still supporting me and fighting strong with me. That's the best thing about him. Yeah. Okay.
That's beautiful. And what's your relationship now that you're out and he's in? Do you want to say a little bit more about that?
Well, yeah. Now that I'm out, like his sister, she comes like on a daily basis to the shelter where I'm staying at the Walmart, at the shelter in Boston, and she comes faithfully. His aunt Cheryl, she's like crazy with me. They take me out to eat. Yesterday was a bad day because yesterday we burned his brother that passed away. So we moaning. The family's going through some tragedy because Terrell's brother died from cancer. So, it's hard for them. It's hard for me. I never got to meet him personally, but I seen pictures of him and I was there with them yesterday to support them. And it was like, wow, you're part of this family. And you just came into the family a year and a half ago and you didn't get to meet your brother-in-law, which it was sad. But I met the rest of the family and it's like amazing, it's like, wow. I finally found a family that what I always wanted. You know, I didn't have my own family supporting me. My family done so much wrong to me. And, you know, it happened that my husband's family accepted me and support me 100%. Yeah. And
That's
I'm
so beautiful.
very happy.
That's so beautiful.
Thank
I'm so happy for you, Angie. You talk about him all the time. I know what kind of support he is for you, and I know the family means so much. So congratulations. All right, so our next question is, while you were incarcerated, can you think of a time when an LGBT person stood up for one another or cared for one another? So some examples might be like providing resources, defending one another, filing grievances, lawsuits, welcoming new queens to the block.
When I got to my first location, no, that wasn't there at all. But when I got to the second location, which even though I was minimum risk, I had requested this maximum risk, maximum security prison because it was closer to my family. But nevertheless, it was an older gay gentleman there. Like everybody knows him. If you come across that facility, you know who it is. Like even the straight guys know better than to deal with him, because he's gonna check you or most likely whoop your ass. But nevertheless, for some reason when I came in, he bum rushed right to me. Look here, I'm over here. If you need me for anything, somebody push up on you, whatever may have you, I'm right here. And he seen a look in my face and he was like, sweetheart, you're not my cup of tea, but you're gonna be my little sis while you in here. It ain't nobody gonna bother you. I said, okay, thank you. So being that way, I got that. So once I got on my feet, I had just started buying extra products and stuff like that. Let me keep it on the side. So therefore, when the other girls coming after me, I would see them in the mess hall, and obviously word spread that a new person is in here, which it never was that many of us at one time. I would see the new girls come into the mess hall, and I'll wait around for them, and certain officers knew they would let me come back to the other unit and drop off a little care package, a little laundry bag with like soap and cosmetics and hairbrushes and some homemade crafted earrings that I had, and I done crafted, done deconstructed the state outfit and reconstructed it. If it's not gonna fit you, let me know, but I know that you wanna feel a little more feminine in this hard khaki, rough, square outfit, and that's what I'm here for, free of charge. I got you.
Oh, that's so amazing. I would see girls do the same thing. And once they chased this queen all across the yard, we had like a big open yard. It was like state park kind of big. And she would not, they were like, that's modified. You done modified that. You can't be wearing those hot pants around here, blah, blah, blah. And she would not let them go. And so they came down 6 deep on her, and she blitzed around the yard. She made them fools chase her all around. And we all knew, all the girls, we were all sitting together and we knew.
I'll be honest. The first time I was given a charge, I was given loss of rec and loss of phone privileges for 5 days because I damaged state property. And I was like, really? So they came, and I'm in the middle of my tier near the phone area, and they stripped me. And when they stripped me, when I say I altered everything, I popped the blade out the razor, and I'm reconstructing, taking the hems out, and I'm making everything to cuff my butt, boot tight out on the thigh, boot flared over the leg, tapered in the waist. Even the bras, I had altered the bras and made them feel a little more pushed. And they didn't no longer do button-up shirts. So I'm making them now the pullover shirts. I slit them and then sewed them and hemmed them and put pockets in them. And I'm doing it for everybody else. I done sat here and even took some small not briefs, regular briefs. I done turned them and made me to a sports thong and everything else. And when they stripped me that day and see me standing there, and I had to be extra about it. I just couldn't do this. I had to be extra and be like, after that, nobody really wanted to strip me no more. You're gonna learn today. I had to get in love with my body real fast.
That's amazing. And this is all done under like the threat of state violence, right? Like you're getting a ticket, you might go to the hole, you might not, right? And so it sounds like a kiki fun story, but like we actually know what could be down the line for us if the wrong guard catches us or whatever. So I think this like thirst within the community to still like express ourselves, especially trans women, still express ourselves even in spite of the rules and knowing what the consequences may be. Like that's a level of strength I don't think people understand. I mean, that's like Stonewall Day, kind of like we know what's coming and we're gonna do it anyways. And I just think that that should be lifted up so high.
No matter what they would have threw at me, I still was not gonna stop. I'm not damaging nobody. I'm not harming nobody. Shit, I come from Catholic school. Even then, every single student tweaks these uniforms so we can look the same, but at least feel like ourselves. Come on now. You don't bother these boys when they done wrote on the back of their shirt and stuff like that. So why are you bothering me? Mine's just a little paper to the body.
Exactly.
And, oh, well, you're trying to entice people. You do know you make me get into an 8-person shower, right? So what's the difference? Everything about me, they don't sing.
Exactly. Anybody else have a story of like resistance, lawsuits? Angie, I know you got a good.
Yes, I do have a story. Well, as many of you are not aware, but I was the first transgender woman that made it into a women's prison up in Framingham, that was the most amazing day of my life because I didn't only open doors for myself, I will open doors for many transgender women like myself, so they don't have to go through what I went through because it wasn't easy for me, but at the end of the day, it was worth it because, you know, what I did was something big in my life, you know, to be the first trans to go to a women's prison and to open doors for many transgender women. It's like, wow. So once I follow, another one follow and another one follow, and there's more other following, you know, which I'm happy for that. And then the most amazing thing about it is that we don't have to suffer and we don't have to tolerate being in a men's prison if we're not comfortable, you know, and we don't have to go to the abuse. And, you know, I tell you that at the end, everything that I have done so far, it was worth it because, you know, today I'm a strong woman. I can say today that I love myself, you know, that I'm vulnerable to do other things in life, you know, and that I'm strong. And that's what keeps me going. Not also myself, but Black and Pink, Jennifer Love, the girls that I have met, Charlie host, she's an amazing friend of mine also. Katie Obama, my best friend is right there, Mike. So, you know, it's like, wow, you know, I did this, you know. And there was other girls that were fighting for years. And I came in and I took the show. I say I took the show for the simple fact that I fought, and I stood there. And the biggest thing that my husband stood by me. Once I wanted to give up, he says, no, you're going to continue. You're not going to let this down. You're going to continue. You're going to do this. You're going to make it. And I succeeded, you know. So to me, this is like, you know, something big in my life, you know, because I never dreamed of being in a women's prison. I never thought that I would be the first trans, you know, and Western Mass is going to be in Framingham. Having a roommate and being with the women's, you know, it was a different life. Yes, it was a different life. Don't get it wrong, though. The women's over there, they were tough, okay? They were tough. I met this girl that she came like this, and she said, oh, my God, you so fine. I said, hold up. Hold up. I like men. She says, I'm a man. I said, yeah, but, you know, real man. You know, and it's amazing because today people look up to me and they look up to me, you know, like I'm a role model today. And I never thought that I would make it to this point. If you look at my background of my life story and all I've been through, today I say I'm a superwoman. I'm a phenomenal woman. You know what I'm saying? And I keep every day trying to succeed, try to do things. Like I'm waiting to get better. And my next presentation, I promise you guys, that when you hear my next presentation, you're gonna say, wow, I'm gonna blow it out. I'm telling you. And that's for you, Mike. I'm doing this for you and for myself. And I promise you that I'm gonna blow this presentation out. Yeah. So
You rock every presentation you do. And
yeah, it's amazing.
you are...
It's amazing to have the transgender women, a black color like myself and Latina as myself also, because I consider myself Latin black, and to have meet all these beautiful people like Jennifer Love, the girls I met on Friday, you know, they were amazing. The girls that just got out, and it's like, wow, you know, if we stay together, we could create something. You know, when we break up, everything breaks up, but if we stand together, we could do a lot of things together. And I'm gonna continue doing what I gotta do, not only for myself but all trans women. You know, and that's my story.
That's right. And I've been so excited to connect with all of you. Like last year, it was just me and Angie. The year before that, it was just me. And I see, and look at us this year. We're like 4 deep here. We had 5 deep yesterday.
Yeah.
And so I just continue to see us growing and eventually like taking the chapter over, you know, like we're going to be leadership here.
Yeah.
And that's what everybody wants it to look like, right? We want it to be led by people so impacted by the system. So anytime I have a chance to make space for you, any of you, it excites me.
Like
Thiago,
I always say that my story is my weapon. So I use that to keep me strong because I learn from it. You know, my story, every time I look at my videos and YouTube and I say, wow, look at me, what a difference. Look at this woman, you know what I'm saying? So that gives me a lot of motivation, you know. Then always look at my friend Jennifer's page and I see how amazing and gorgeous she still is. You know, I'm almost in my 60s. I'm a cougar though. You know. But I say for my sister, I still look good. You know, I'm almost 60 years. But you know, I learn a lot, not only from you girls and from you guys, but I take whatever I could use and whatever I don't use, I pass it on down the road. You know, try to use this, go with this, do this. You know, look at my story, and what holds me back, not going back to the life that I used to be, is my story, and it's what happened to me at the moment. You know, it was so much, you know, that it got to the point at one time that I had told Mike. I remember I said, Mike, it came to the time that I wanted to hang it up because that's how bad it was. I wanted to hang it up. I didn't want to live no more, you know? And I said, hold up, I'm still a beautiful woman. I'm a phenomenal woman. Why? Let me fight, you know? And my husband used to tell me on a daily basis, Mom, no one sees the beauty in you but me. So come on, let's do this. Until we did it, you know? And here I am today. Like I said, you know, an older woman, but I'm proud of myself, you know? And every time that I meet someone or I have a presentation with you guys, it's like, wow, my family goes bigger and bigger and bigger. And I love all you guys. I love y'all. Yes.
great. Thank you, Angie. So, Thiago, do any stories come to mind for you about resisting while you were on the inside?
Yes, there is a couple stories, but I'm just gonna go with one so everyone can share. So when I was on me and like another 12 guys. And I remember I was starting to getting better. I was there for almost 3 months at a time, and my head was getting clear from the drugs and all that. And I was kind of like wanting to find some kind of direction to where to go, you know, from there, like treatment wise, you know. And there's very hard to get anything going from jail. Like nothing happens. There's nobody really. Not much you can do there. The CEOs are like not doing much, like, you know, nobody knows anything. So I wrote a grievance to the jail department at the time, complaining about like you know, I'm here, I'm trying to find further treatment, I'm finding very hard to get anything done through here. The CEOs, like, you know, they could be like some kind of they could be helping somewhere on the line, but they're on the phones all day, not doing shit. And apparently that this grievance alone made a big noise because and the CEOs start coming at me, like literally coming at me, saying that I was like, you can't write grievances here about our service. What are you doing? We're gonna, I remember CEO in particular, CEO Moon, threatened me to break my face through the window if I write another grievance, and like start harassing me on the unit. And there was 12 guys in the unit, so we were doing like crazy shakedowns and you know, taking cold showers in the winter. So the situation was getting really crazy, and I kept writing grievances as that happened, because I'm like, if you guys gonna keep doing, I'm gonna keep writing grievances, and I'm gonna keep trying to vindicate for our rights. And they trying to kind of break the unit, put the guys against me, because I kept writing. Like I remember one point I was known in the jail as the grievance guy. because like I would write grievances in the morning saying like what's gonna happen. I'll wake up in the morning and I'll write a grievance about what happened the night before and explaining to the department that the officers were gonna come at night and they were gonna do something because I'm writing grievances, and that's exactly what was happening. So the CEOs will come and they'll trying to do something. They'll put me on the hold or something ridiculous, and I'll go and I'll come back to the unit in 3 days, and the CEOs are all pissed off. When we come back to the unit, I'm like, I just appeal to the nonsense that you guys are putting me through here. I remember calling the Brazilian consulate saying that the CEOs were harassing me. They fuck with my canteen. I remember like they stole an entire bag of my canteen, $80, and I never got that back. So they're really at me, you know. And I remember one day like a CEO that would talk about like what would be a perfect jail for you? What would you do for your jail if you have like the money to make a jail perfect? Do you think that would be a possibility? A jail is not a vacation place that people come and go to get. And I remember him saying like nobody cares about people like here, Thiago. Majority of these guys, they're not worth it. Like maybe you're one of the kind. And I didn't like when they say that because I was not one of the kind. You know, I think everyone was deserved a chance to get better. Everyone deserved a chance to be able to get out of the system and stop coming back. You know, and that's something that always bugged me. You know, always bugged me. And I remember there was a day of there was really the finals. The Pats was in the finals for the Super Bowl. And the CEOs to fuck with their unit because I kept writing grievances. I didn't stop. Like there was no like amount of times that they'll send me to the hole that made me stop writing. You know, I was not afraid of them. I knew that I've been through so much shit before going to jail because I knew like spending some days in the hole wouldn't break me. So that was the whole concept. But I remember the day of the Super Bowl, they literally did not let the guys watch the Super Bowl. This is a kind of a punishment for what I was doing. And I remember like a huge canteen at the time. My parents had a little bit of money and they were sending some. So I was just because, so I remember I grabbed my bag of canteen, I throw like on the floor and I pick up a bunch of stuff and I cook for the 12 guys. And I told the CEO, like, CCO, like you might say that nobody cares about these guys here at all. But some people, like, not saying that just me care for them, but some people out there care for these boys. And I remember the guys who were like a little resentful against me, look at me, you see, this guy here is special. And that was a moment that we all sat down and we ate, like all of us together. And it was one of those moments that stick with me and it will stick with me my whole life. It was just nice. That's my story, Mike.
Thanks, Thiago. And for anyone watching who doesn't know, this is one of the insidious ways that correctional officers can operate, is rather than going after you directly, they can create a climate issue in your unit and let everybody know it's your fault to try to turn the block against you. And people don't know that enough. It's hard to prove if you were an incarcerated person, right? It's hard to prove, but it happens every day. And people should be aware that this is one of the ways that they operate. I'd like to share a story about, really, it's kind of my first transgender person I had ever knowingly met. I was being transported from Walpole State Prison to Gardner State Prison. And I knew she was queer. I knew she wasn't hetero, but I didn't know exactly what was going on. But anyways, we hit it off in the van. She was an old timer, she was a lifer, and we became best friends immediately. We ended up at a new camp together. And so she answered all my questions. She caught me up. She taught me how to move in the system. But one thing that was really problematic was that the guards were making reports that we were lovers. And it wasn't like that at all. It was really kind of like mom and daughter here. But they could not fathom that two queer people with an age difference could have that much in common. And so they immediately started perpetuating these myths and these lies that are really predominant around trans women, right? That they're sneaky, that they're accessing spaces for nefarious reasons, that they're out to hurt people. And these are all not true. And she was the best thing that happened to me in my life there. She really taught me how to resist the state. just for the sake of resisting sometimes. And they really created problems for us, though, because they would call us up to the special IPS office. They do investigations, and so they'd investigate me, and they drill us with questions one by one. But then when the rest of the camp can see you going in and out of this office, it starts to look suspicious. Like, all right, like, are you actually like snitching on people in there? Is that why they're calling you up there? Or like, is this just some kind of cover story that you're having? So I had to do a lot of explaining to people. It kind of put everybody on like alert, sort of like, is he cool? Is he not cool? And it creates a climate issue. And they threatened us with solitary confinement if we kept hanging out together, if we kept eating food together. But what the prison imagination couldn't fathom was that she was the best thing that happened to my life there. She kept me out of trouble. She kept the weirdos away. She taught me how to move around the guards. And I would say that our best moment together was when they updated the restraining order statute here in Massachusetts. So they expanded it to include stalking. So I peeped it in the legal newsletter, and I immediately showed Charlene, and we got to writing. Because we said, well, actually, the superintendent is directing all the IPs to stalk us, to harass us. And so we're gonna file a restraining order against him. And so I'm not sure how many superintendents have been dragged down to criminal court, but you bet your ass she filed that complaint, and she got him in criminal court to answer for those allegations. The court didn't know what to do in Gardner. The superintendent didn't know what to do. We were right on the law. And unfortunately, he took it under advisement, even though we were right to the letter of the law, and denied it. But I think, again, it just shows, like, you do need to resist. You do need to stand up for yourself. And she's someone who would likely die in the system. And at least she can say she stood up for herself at every step of the way. Let's take a question from the audience. So Lauren Pettit is a friend. I had the pleasure of working with her at a law firm. And she asks, what is your happiest memory of pride and solidarity in prison? Anybody want to give that a crack? Oh, go ahead, Angie.
The best time that I had in solitary confinement was when me and my husband, we got love, because we were right next door to each other. So we would go under the door and send little kites with a string. So I broke my sheet so I could be able to send him letters, under the door. And it was like amazing. He says, "Man, no, flush it to the toilet, and I'm gonna flush mine, and I'm gonna get it in this side." I never thought that would happen. And I would flush my letter through the toilet, and it would go to his toilet, and he would grab it and read it, and then send it back. And it was like, wow, look what the prison is made out of, And then if not, there was sometimes we would go under the door, because there's about this much space, and we would throw things. I would throw a book at him, or he would throw something at me with a letter inside, and we would talk about, wow, man, look where we at, and we would laugh about it after the fact, like, why are these people so cool to us, and why can't they let us live our life, If, like, my husband is a lifer, he's an actual lifer. The only thing that's helping him out is that we fighting this bill that, me and Mike, we've been fighting for, that right now is on hold because of COVID-19. But we also have a DA that's looking into his case because he was discriminated because of his color, because my husband is Cape Verdean and black. So he went in when he was 17. My husband's been down 20 plus years, So when the DA looked at his case, he says, wait up, there's a lot of mistakes in his minijuries and stuff. Then the jury found him not guilty, but the judge found him guilty because it was somebody of his family. But the jury had found it, so they did a mistake there. That the story that's working says, listen, when you come out of here, you're gonna come out rich because of what they did to you, that discriminate you at that age. And then they sent him straight from 17 years old straight into an adult prison. He was a kid. He was 17, 16, going to 17, and it's like, wow. And we share all those things while we was in confinement. And I would cry, he would cry, because he always tells me, "Man, your pain is my pain." I said, "Baby, your pain is my pain." And we would share a lot of things. That's why we bond so much together today. And all of these, like there's time when we talk on the phone because he called me 3 times a day on my phone, and we talked about it. He says, "Mom, remember when we did this, when we did," and we laugh about it. But the good thing about it that we made it, you know, because I made it so he's happy. So he says, "I succeeded something with you," so he's happy, you know. And it's like, wow, people don't understand what is to be behind these prison walls because they don't see it. But Mike, me, Jennifer Love, the women and the guys that been there, we know how it is. So our story is not a lie, you know. Our story is real, you know. So when we say these things, it's because this is true. It really happens to us in life, you know.
Right.
This is
Believe it
not
or
a make up
not.
story. This is real.
Thank you, Angie. Does one more person maybe want to answer that?
I'll take a shot at that. Now, let me make sure I understood you that the pride and resilience while we're incarcerated. That's the question. Okay. When I got incarcerated and got sentenced in 2009, I was in a very bad place. I had started unraveling the perfect person that I wanted to be to everyone that I love. I found out that I was finding out that I couldn't be perfect. A friend who I trusted, you raped me in my own very first apartment. So I'm just at this point, I'm like at my third point of trying to commit suicide. I wake up to drinking straight vodka and sniffing coke. My mother is arguing with me. She asking me, "Are you on drugs? I know my child, you came out of my ass. What is wrong with you? Talk to me." And I didn't know how to talk to no one. So in my mind, me just going to prison and getting this shit over with, maybe it's something needed. I could come home better. I can come home worse, or possibly dying there. Hudson County kept me in PC against my will because I had breasts and I was feminine, and my facial features was too much like a woman, even with no weave and even with no makeup. Fine. When DOC gets me, I'm caught off guard. I've never been inside of a prison situation before until all this is all fresh and new to me. They put me at Southern State Correctional Facility, which is in Delmont, New Jersey. And me arriving off the bus, I'm sitting here and I'm like, this is prison? Because it didn't look like anything that I've seen on TV. I'm just a little confused, but I'm like, okay. And they take me to Unit 2, it's reception. I'm sitting there, mind you, inside I'm still suffering. I have no one, I don't understand what's going on, but I just know I gotta just do these 5 years and some change and get home safe. I'm sitting here, and on the 4th day of being in reception, our lieutenant, our second shift lieutenant already had to talk to me, told me I'm not to take nothing from no one. If I need anything, to let him know. He already is forewarning me that this is either gonna go 2 ways. 1, people are gonna try to fuck you, or 2, some are gonna try to fuck you up. So the air on the side of caution, because I want no one dying or being hurt on my watch. You need anything, you come to me. You take it from my near inmate. It's been a while since we've had someone that's this much of a queen. And I asked, what did that mean? We've had a few gay guys in the past, but this is a whole different situation with the breasts. And I'm like, oh, I suck it up. 4 days later, a lieutenant moves me to this rough looking unit, which is Unit 5. It's mainly bloods. I last not even quite 2 weeks, but on August 8th of 2009, DOC only had me for 2 weeks and 4 days. I'm sexually assaulted. I write a note to my mother telling her I just want to die. Next thing I know, I come back to my unit, get in my bunk and go to bed. I wake up to being held by my wrists, by my ankles, and be beaten with combination locks. And it took me 3 fucking months to heal. And you know what DOC did? They covered it because the task at hand was done. They knew that this perfectly coiffed drug functioning unit, put the boy over there with the breast, and all function would cease. And that's just what happened. Ultimately, it's a fight in a melee of 13 guys. And me make 14. I'm the only one who never snitched. That's the only thing that worked in my favor later on for older, long time, inmates, sat there and said that, oh, well, the boy, took it on the chin. That's somebody I can respect, never snitched, but all deep down inside, that shit broke me. I didn't know who to talk to. And then for DLC to punish me because I wouldn't tell who my attackers were. You put me over there. You put me over there to mess up this situation, to benefit you so you can get the drug dealers out of here. You didn't give a shit about me. You don't give a shit about me now. If I even tell on them, you think this just happened to me, took me 3 months to heal. You know what's going to happen to me next? You don't give a shit about me. My mother, in her gut, her mother's intuition, she knew something was wrong. And you know what DOC told my lawyer? Is that I attacked someone. Really? I'm 5'11", 162. Who the hell am I attacking in prison?
Wow. Wow, that's a powerful story, Jen. I don't think I've ever heard that.
Moments like this, when I sit here and feel broken, and since being home, I tried to commit suicide 2 more times. My last time was in 2018. My little cousin, my aunt, my best friend I told you about in the beginning, they do their little wellness checks, and they invite me to hold it together. You didn't go through all that to let them see you fail now. You've been through too much while you was in there to ever lose now. So y'all always see me smile. But it's moments like this, when I relive that shit in my head, that I lose focus. And I remember how weak and how helpless I was in a situation that I had no control. Everybody just hates me. I just got here. I just want to do my time and go home.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing, Jen. I'm so sorry that happened to you. And that's one of the reasons why there'll never be a nice prison. There'll never be a humane prison. That all prisons are inherently life-denying. They restrict our freedom of movement. If there was some weirdo on the street we were getting Bab's vibe with, we just move. And they restrict our freedom of movement. They put us in situations that are junk. And we're so proud that you're still here with us, Jen. Thank you. I'm so glad to be on the national working group with you, kicking ass through Black in Pain, through the Jen Love Project.
It's a constant battle with myself inside. No matter how much, no matter how much I see me smile, it's days when I'm by myself and I sit here and all these things play back in my mind and I just feel helpless. And I sit here and I just want to give up. And I was already battling depression and several attempts of suicide prior to going to prison. And that just broke me more. But upon being so broken, they know it's easy to sit here, my family and loved ones, certain ones who know everything, to sit here and remind me what I've been through, remind me I'm just that strong. I didn't come this far to fail. I didn't come this far to give up. So that's be the things that make me sometimes snap out of it and just take a moment to myself and pull it together and keep going. I just hate crying in public. I hate crying in front of people because it's like a sign of weakness. I always be nervous someone would use that against me.
No, that's so real. It's so real. The pain we all carry is real. You know, I think that's why a lot of people don't turn towards this work, is because actually it's too hard to keep talking about it, to kind of keep circling around it.
When I had met Angie for the first time and we talked a little bit about our situations, Remember, you were sitting right there, and I just immediately jumped over and hugged her. This is a woman who's been in my shoes, so you know exactly what I've been through. I may talk about the positive moments that I had to use to rebuild myself in prison, but she knows what it's like to be stripped of every dignifying thing about you, everything you love about yourself, to be stripped of it. And at that moment in time, we just instantly connected.
So we just got another question, and I think this is a good pivot. Maybe we could end on this note if we could all going around and answer this question. This is from Trey Andre Valentine. He is the executive director of the Massachusetts Transgender Political Coalition. He's a force. He's been really interested in incarcerated people, particularly trans people. And so he asks, what are some ways that the public can support LGBT people, especially trans women of color, who are currently incarcerated, as well as how can we support their reentry process?
Okay. Everyone on the inside is LGBTQ plus, especially our trans women and trans women of color. They need to know that someone outside has their back. Like I said on Friday, everything doesn't always have to be in the money form. That helps usually. Do not think it doesn't. But to know that you have someone that has your back, that you can write to, that you can call to speak on your behalf. For moments when things happen like that to me, I had no one to fight for me in the beginning because my mother was on vacation. She had no clue. She could cut her vacation short. Something's not right with my child. Mother's intuition to get back and fight for me on that end. But there's a lot of girls like me who don't have no one to fight for them because the DOCs or the federal situations or the county jails, their only concern is to cover themselves. When y'all be seeing these inmates in there and they're sitting here and they're telling you, oh, they committed suicide, even though I had suicidal tendencies already before prison, ain't no fucking way in hell I would have committed suicide in there. Because I knew it would have devastated my family more. But there's so many of us that's sitting here and they're sitting here saying, they sat here and they committed suicide. No, they didn't. You put them in a situation that suffocated them. So have someone on the inside, they can reach to on the outside to advocate for them, to get somebody involved, to dig into the county's asses, the boroughs, into the state and federal prisons. Because they will walk over your loved ones. You don't even have to love someone to do right by them. So any help, yes, financially, is an extreme gracious and thankful thing. However, if you can't afford to be there financially for someone, to be their voice. You don't have to be an LGBTQ person. You don't have to be a trans person to take the moment out of your heart to care for them, to make sure that they're heard and that they're safe. Most of the time, people are not asking, oh, get me out of here. They just want to be able to do their time and get it over with.
That's right. I'd like to piggyback on that and say here in Massachusetts, we formed a special commission to study the health and safety of LGBTQI prisoners. And really piggybacking on what Jen just said, this prison in particular, Shirley Medium Prison, they had one suicide of a gay man last year that got zero airplay. Nobody knew about it unless I mentioned it. And then this year, just this month, we had another attempted suicide. And we have been begging the Department of Corrections to transfer these people, that it's not safe for queer prisoners in that prison, to at least transfer them to another facility where at least as a form of harm reduction. If you can't let them go, at least don't leave them there where they're gonna get gobbled up. The guards are in on it. The incarcerated people are they're not conditioned to be around queer folks. We're not able to control their freedom of movement. And so we're stuck wherever they put us, or we're stuck in the hole. And these people are committing suicide, attempting suicide. And I would really ask the public right now, the one thing you could do is to get on the horn with the DOC, the Massachusetts Department of Corrections, and to advocate that no queer prisoners be held in that facility. There's a Category 2 investigation going on right now. It's junk. They're going to do the same thing they did to Jen, which is make it sound like it's all their fault. It's not their fault. They didn't ask to be incarcerated. They're in their custody, and it's their job to make sure that they come out alive. And so please, if you get a chance, please hop on the horn with the DOC. Please attend the commission meetings. We put out flyers, we put out advisories every meeting. Please attend, please speak up, just like Jen's saying. You can be an advocate for someone even if you don't know who you're advocating for. Anyone else want to talk about ways to support LGBT people who are incarcerated?
Yes, Mike. It's like, wow, I heard my sister's story and it broke my heart for the simple fact that I know what it is to be in that position. Like, I tried to commit suicide numerous of times when I was in jail, when I was going through, you know, being raped 3 times is not easy for me. Every time I talk about my presentation and I talk about my story, it's like I'm living the moment again. Like hearing Jennifer, I just broke down because I thought of what was happening to me when I was in that situation and what things were going on to me, you know. And you live the moment. There's a wound that is inside of us that is very hard to heal, you know, that it's not that easy, you know. Like mental health counseling doesn't do it, you know. For me, it hasn't. What have done it for me is talk about my story so I can ease the pain down and try to get it out of my thoughts and my mind, you know. Not that I'm saying that it's the best thing, because it's not, but it helps me, you know. I could relate to many other things, like it's like, wow, this prison system, what it does to you, how it breaks you down, because the prison system, okay, it's a step, it's 5 ladder. It starts from the top, it starts from always in your brain, and they start breaking you down. They start taking from you. In my case, they took everything from me, but they didn't take my pride, my dignity. I refused for them to take my pride, my dignity. I refused, and that's what I fought for, you know? But it's not easy, and it's a struggle. Like I tell you, my man, every time I went to the hole, that man followed me. He would punch somebody, hit somebody, so he could be there with me, you know? Because he knew my thoughts already were there, you know? I wanted to stop. I wanted this to stop, and it wasn't stopping, you know? Until one day that the judge said, Miss Angelina Resto, you're a female, you belong in a woman's prison. I tell you, that was the most amazing day of my life. Not only for me, okay, because I did it for me, yes, but I also opened many doors for many other people in this world. They go through, it's like Jennifer says, I don't have a family. I do, but I don't. My family is black and pink, Jennifer, Glad, and PLS. And everybody that I have met in my presentations and in my speeches, that's my family. I've been rejected too, because all I wanted was a family that I could never have. Why? Because I was different, because I chose to live my life as a woman. You know what it is that your own sister go to bed with your husband, with my husband, and have 2 kids from him. So my sister's kids, I'm their aunt, and I'm also their stepmother. You know? That's how hard it's been in my life. That my sister had to sleep with my man, come out pregnant, okay? And she had 2 kids from him. After me being with him 7 years. So my first attempt was like, wow, I don't want to live no more. Because I couldn't please him. I couldn't give him the kid that he wanted. My sister had to come in and do that for me. My own blood sister. You know? And it's like, you know, it's not easy living our life, because it's a struggle, because we go through so many things on a daily basis. Okay? With this racism, homophobia, and all this discrimination that goes on behind those prison walls and out here in these streets, it's crazy. When is this gonna stop? Is the answer. When? That's why I always try to use my story, because that's my weapon. And my weapon is what keeps me strong on a daily basis. Because right now I wouldn't be here talking with you guys. You know, maybe you would have never knew who Angie was. You know? But thanks to one person, because it only took one person to save my life. And that was Terrell Martin. you know? Today I could say I have a family. I have an amazing family, better than the own family that God ever gave me. My
That's
best friend is right there, here, Mike Cox. My other friend, Jennifer Love, okay? And everybody else that I have met, Charlie and all them, they support me, they love me for who I am, not for what I have done, just because of the person that I am today. That woman, you know? And this is struggle underline. And my pain goes out to you, Jennifer Love, because you know I love you since the day we met. We click and we have so much in common. And we giggle, we do this, and we have an amazing time together. Every time we go to Washington, like we carry on. You know, we see the love of a sister, the love of Mike when he's there with us, and the way we carry on. And we always there for one another. We talk about things, we do things together. And this is what it's all about. So come on, give us the opportunity to be who we want to be, because we are important in this world, even though if you say we're not. I know I am, because my pride and dignity will never be taken away from me. And I love you guys.
That's right, Angie. That's right. Wow, this has gotten really powerful. Yeah, my heart just goes out to everyone, and I know we all shoulder so much, you know, and so it's all kiki and hee and ha, but we shoulder a lot, and I'm really proud of all the work everyone puts in to show up for people who were in our shoes, because we know what's going on. Thiago, do you want to close us out with something that people in the public can be doing for incarcerated LGBT people, especially trans women?
Hi, Michael. Damn, like, I don't know, the girls were so strong, like, you know, right now I don't want to come and say something that's going to overtake anything, you know. You know, from outside the community, like, I don't know, I mean, we're just here for each other, you know, that's the message I guess I'm going to close with, you know, and just caring for each other. It's just good to be here in a moment like this, like everyone's getting so vulnerable and sharing so much powerful things, you know. I'm just going to take a lot from this meeting, you know, and like coming out of prison, and like I just think like about like, you know, you need support and you need love and you need like people to carry you through those moments. And that's sometimes where when we're like in jail for so long, like, and you coming out, it's hard to find that and the transition, healthy transition to the community, you know, because it's already, the system does beat you down. We all know that. There's nothing really that builds you back up from inside those walls, those brick walls, you know. What the thing that we can do is just trying to find like, you know, find like how to support these people, LGBT people coming out from jails, and just be there for them, love, care for them, and be supportive as much as we can. And that's my input, my man.
Thanks, Thiago. And so thank you so much for everybody's vulnerableness. Thank you so much for sharing so many of the beautiful stories we don't hear. Thank you for sharing all the stories we all need to hear. So just one more thing that folks can do is get a pen pal. That one relationship may be a person's lifeline. So please get a pen pal. You can go on blackandpink.org. They have a great pen pal program, a database with thousands of incarcerated LGBT people or people living with HIV across the nation. You may be the one person they get mail from, and you may be the one person they reach out to for help. So if you feel like that person could be you, please consider signing up. We're gonna put all this information in an email for participants as a follow-up, including Jen Love Project. She's getting off the ground. She's gonna be here for other trans women just like her who are getting out. We're gonna be sharing people's Venmos and Cash Apps in case you wanna support them, because we all may come on here looking the best we can, but the reality is most of us still struggle. And so please consider supporting, particularly the trans women here, but also Thiago's awesome too, so consider supporting him too. Thank you for coming. I'm gonna close out here. And if anyone feels triggered by anything, please connect with a friend. It's really important that we reach out to people when things get tough. So thank you, and we hope that you'll also attend our July 2nd event that's going to be centered on queer abolition. So thanks, everyone. Have a great night.